Hello. In principle, in my heart, I agree with Desmond Tutu that we might not be able to create a world without pain or loss or conflict or hurt feelings, but we can create a world of forgiveness. However, last week I read in the news of senior Russian officer Konstantin Yefremov, who has described how his country's troops tortured prisoners of war and threatened some with rape. On days like that, I think that creating a world of forgiveness is the hardest thing to do. The UN's Human Rights Office has been documenting cases of mistreatment of prisoners in the war in Ukraine. It's interviewed more than 400 POWs, both Ukrainians and Russians. The head of the UN's Ukraine-based monitoring team says, "Unfortunately, we've found there is torture and ill treatment of prisoners of war happening on both sides." A day or so after this story was in the news, the Church of England daily reading included a passage from Hebrews chapter 13, which begins with the line, "Let mutual love continue," followed by, "Remember those who are in prison as though you were in prison with them, those who are being tortured as though you yourselves are being tortured." Enduring the pain of imprisonment and torture is beyond my comprehension, and I have no difficulty of feeling empathy for the victims. But it is so much harder to feel compassion for the perpetrators, and yet we can't hope to create a world of forgiveness without it. The Russian officer has acknowledged that he didn't have the moral right to ask for forgiveness from the Ukrainians. He said on the Radio 4 Today programme, "I can't forgive myself, so I can't expect them to forgive me." Now, he's right that forgiveness is a gift, one that simply can't be claimed as ours through right. It's a gift that we give to others and that we gratefully receive. It has the power to be transformative and to heal. But if it's yielded insensitively, it can be used as a stick to beat people with. It must be given freely, never demanded. The Lord's Prayer is a daily reminder to Christians that forgiveness is a central tenet to their faith. And yet, forgiving the unforgivable is very hard. Now, I don't know what it's like to have committed evil on such a scale that's been seen in the war in Ukraine, apparently on both sides, nor to have suffered the horrors of torture. But, like all human beings, I have been in the position of being able to bestow the gift of forgiveness on others and being in desperate need of forgiveness myself. As Jesus hangs, dying on the cross, he utters, "Father, forgive them, they do not know what they are doing." I find it encouraging that in that very moment, Jesus asks God to do the forgiving. And sometimes this may be all that we can manage. Creating a world of forgiveness isn't a way to blot out suffering, but it might be the only way that we can bring ourselves to cope with it. I'm going to give the last words again to Desmond Tutu. This comes from an article that he wrote about witnessing his father abusing his mother and all about the issue of forgiveness. So here you are. There are times when all of us have been thoughtless, selfish, or cruel. But no act is unforgivable. No person is beyond redemption. Forgiveness takes practice, honesty, open-mindedness, and a willingness, even if a weary willingness, to try. It isn't easy. The only way to experience healing and peace is to forgive. Until we can forgive, we remain locked in our pain and locked out of the possibility of experiencing healing and freedom, locked out of the possibility of being at peace. Bless you all.